Hello and welcome to Zelda Speedruns. Today we have a link to the past All Dungeon tournament match of round 1 between Chexhuman and Thalane. Commentators for the race are ALttP and this is not Yoho. Say hello and take over from here.
Yeah, we got a great tournament match coming up today between Chex and Thalane. Chex is the 14 seed in the brackets here, and Thalane's the 19th seed. They have very close PBs. Thalane coming in at a 112.55, and Chex has a 112.15. So sure to be a great match today. Dow, how are you doing today?
Doing pretty well, and yeah, agreed. I'm excited for this one for sure.
Yeah, so we should be getting started pretty shortly here. Should see top level play. I don't think either of these players get any real safeties, don't get the silvers or anything.
No, not at all. It's interesting because they're both really good, but Chex tends to be a little bit better at the glitch stuff. He's probably one of the best glitch players out there. Which is not to say that his non-glitch stuff isn't good. It's also very good. But Thalane, I would say, is better at kind of the typical non-glitch stuff. So it'll be interesting to see how each of those go for both of them.
Yeah, Thalane entered the tournament and basically he grinded down his PB to this pretty quickly though. So it was pretty cool to see. I guess he had done some AD in the past, but had a much higher, I guess it was an old route maybe, and had a much higher PB. Once it was tournament time, he just knocked it down. But yeah, we're off now.
I mean, I don't know. This is one of those categories where you can't just do it once and have it be good, right? I think Thalane did only a handful of runs just to kind of see if he liked it, I guess. Yeah, his PB before the tournament started was 117 or something, and then he decided to commit to it and got it down to this 112 range pretty quickly. So
yeah, so we're off. We're in escape. Same old escape as ever. Basically, what we're looking at is tiny movement optimizations. We're gonna see pumping, the little taps on the D-pad that they're doing, and who's gonna get screwed by the RNG worse than you? Really?
I mean, we talked about RNG here. There's a ton of RNG in the run. We will see a bunch of it in escape, but the way RNG tends to work out most of the time actually is that aside from a few key things right at the end of the run, you get good RNG, you get bad RNG. It's just a matter of where. So how you react to it is really the thing.
Yeah, there's only one or two sources of really big RNG, but there's a lot of small random stuff in here, and it's really mostly just enemy movement, and it costs you stuff, but it'll save you stuff later, if you get good RNG. So it's just I don't know. Generally, you don't get unlucky the entire run with the way the enemies move.
Generally, not always.
Not always, yeah. Those are the most tilting runs.
But yeah, so right now, what we're expecting to see a lot of movement optimizations. What we're really looking to see in this segment is not much nudging, not going past doors, things like that. Also coming up on kind of a boss, but not really. Ball and chain guard, he's holding the big key for us. This is a pretty tough fight, all things considered. And if our players don't get beat up too bad, we'll be pretty good.
Thalane's getting the tank. He's tanking. Oh, he's tanking all over the place. That's rough.
Yeah, just like that. I mean, ball and chain is a pretty tough fight. You got to have a good rhythm for it. If your rhythm gets a little bit off, that happens.
Yeah.
And tanks, or the little parries where you don't hit him, but you don't get hit, are better than getting hit. It's pretty easy to get a little bit off rhythm there and then just get hit 2 or 3 times. And since he does a full heart of damage, you can die right there. It's a little bit scary.
The ball and chain death is a rough one, but it definitely does happen when you're going down to the. But yeah, because of that, I guess Chex has a few seconds lead here coming in. But it's just escape. A bad key rat or something like that could even it up pretty much for the escape. But attempt here.
Yeah, for sure. We can see, a 3-second lead, 5-second lead, whatever, just evaporate once we start getting into our glitches, because messing those up, you can lose 15, 20, sometimes even more time, just depending on how it goes. And in the worst case scenario, you might actually hard lock yourself, and so you have to reset the game, or soft lock and have to save and quit out or something like that, which are obviously very bad. But
yeah, the worst ways to go.
Unfortunately, we have quite a few opportunities for that in this run, so we're not wishing for it, but it kind of comes with the category that we might see some disasters here, like need to save and quit, or have to reset the game, or just take a death somewhere that you weren't expecting, because as it is a pretty tough category.
Yeah, there's a lot of places where, especially later on, because we allow save and quit, you end up with fewer hearts than maybe you would expect, or maybe you would have practiced. So you're having to do a little more lower heart strats and take less damage, be a little more perfect, be a little more clean. So.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, Check's getting a little beat up by the snakes here. That's pretty typical in these dark rooms. You have the cone of light, so you have a lot less time to react to what's happening. And the snake's position is actually random, and the way they move also, like, you kind of get a feel for it. They like to charge you, but they still kind of move wherever they want.
You get kind of a tingle in the back of your head when you think a snake's about to ruin your day.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, is it? Oh, yep, it's happening. Sometimes you get the cool boom, you nail him, but it doesn't always go that way.
Yeah, pretty good key reds from both of them, and then getting through the back here. And like we said, Chex had an early lead at big key, and now it's gone. It's just like a couple of seconds here and there. It's going to get made up by RMG or just, small misplays throughout the course of the run.
Yeah. So, next up, I guess for the Eastern, I don't know, does Thalane do Citrus? Do you know?
I don't know.
I would guess Chex might do.
I would imagine Chex will do it. He was encouraging me to Citrus to the death room just a couple of days ago.
Yeah,
so, he, big fan of the glitches. I would be surprised if he passed up an opportunity to do them.
Yeah, but Citrus is one of those things that saves 6 seconds, but it can also lose a bunch if you don't get the inputs perfect.
Yeah, so early on here, we're going to use our first save and quit, which is kind of the first real interesting thing in the run, I guess. But we're going to head on over to Eastern Palace here, and we do have an opportunity for a glitch to kind of get into the dungeon, which saves a little bit of time, like Yoho said.
Neither of them are citrusing. They're both taking the big walk to Eastern.
Yeah, this is one of those things that, like, if you screw it up, you're not saving any time. And if you get it first try, you're going to save somewhere, like, hopefully, like 6 seconds, but sometimes less than that even. So walking here, totally fine. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, for sure. You just got to do stair pumping then.
Yeah,
Which,
well,
that's...
pumping is everybody's favorite part of this video game, so...
Yeah, man. I'm going to be an old man, and my hands are going to ache, and I'm going to remember this game. And just feel bad.
It's definitely... Yeah. If you start pumping too much, it's rough, but... We can see, like, a small thing there. Chex gets that heart. Thalane doesn't. I think the difference in those two things is, like, 4 frames. Not a big deal. So that heart's really good safety heart.
Yeah, that heart is very, very nice heart to grab. So that you have health. Because it's important to be, if you're going into Eastern without Sync Heart, you only have 3 hearts. We have a planned damage boost coming up where you're going to do at least a heart and a half of damage to yourself to be able to get to the big key. So if you don't have some spare there, you're going to be in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
It's
like,
definitely...
Theoretically, Chex didn't need the heart, but I don't think anybody's quite at the point where that 4 frames matters over the extra safety of guaranteeing you get through the split. So, good key room for both of them. That room's also tough. You got 3 skeletons in there. The cone of light again, so you have to a little bit less time to react. Generally, they behave, but not always.
Sometimes they just swarm you, or they stay out of the way until you get to the pod, and then they start moving down and mess with you.
But yeah, it's pretty good. Big key damage boost there for both of them. Yeah, I mean, they both took the heart and a half, which is as good as it gets.
Yep, for sure. Now we're going to go grab our bow, head to the back. Still very even here.
Yeah. And right now we're just stocking up on arrows. We're going to use, I forget exactly how many, 24, 25 arrows or something like that in this dungeon. So we actually won a bunch.
Yeah. Well, you want to make sure you have enough for the next dungeon too. We need to stock up for pod. And it's a little bit RNG whether you're going to end up having enough in pod, because we're kind of banking on the red Igors dropping arrows for us.
We've got 3 enemies.
1 or 2. Yeah.
And we need 1 drop at 50% chance. So we have a 1 in 8 chance of not getting the drop we want. It doesn't feel like 1 in 8. It feels like 1 in 3. I don't know. It's like one of those things. Really nice Zelda game from both of them.
I would like that RNG every time.
So yeah, Chex doesn't get the drop.
Yeah, Chex is a little rough on arrows now. We're gonna see how he mitigates that. There's a couple different strategies in pod in our next split that you can do to restock. The simplest being just get the drop down arrows, just walk down. But it's a very costly pot of arrows that you have to get. Meanwhile, Thalane has 9, so yeah, he's good for pod.
It's funny we say costly. It's like 3 seconds or something. But that's just how much we know about like what arrow pods to pick up and everything else, that 3 seconds feels like an eternity to us, but it's really only like 3 seconds. So definitely not going to make or break the run here.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't know. Just having the arrows feels nice. Going down and grabbing that pod just feels bad. It's a different thing you do. It feels bad, man. Are you like... I don't know, man.
I agree.
You feel like
it's
you made
the
a
worst
mistake.
feeling in the world.
Yeah.
If this wasn't a race, I would like almost seriously consider resetting. That's how bad it feels. But yeah, so we're gonna grab Sankar here. Actually, we skipped it earlier because for most runners, Eastern Palace on 3 hearts is doable. We don't like it, but it's doable. But without Sankar here, pod is basically impossible. So as we head into Palace of Darkness, after using a few glitches to get up onto Death Mountain and then kind of get into the Dark World, we can see that Chex does it really well. First try, Thalane screwed up a little bit, but then the guards got in his way, which is a bigger issue.
It looks like he got in there and just ended up popping out or something. I'm not sure whether his diagonal
I think he might have
clean.
been 1 pixel too high or something like that. Because it's like a lot of things are, you have a relatively small pixel window to get. I think that to get into the cliff is like 2 or 3.
I think it's 3. It's in the document which we have locked away in the warehouse with the Ark of the Covenant. So no one reads it.
But we're gonna get another one here. It's called Kiki Eat. We're gonna just clip into a wall and then take a big jump around the top of the map. It actually wraps us around to the top of the screen, and yeah, it requires spin speed state, which is frame perfect trick. So Chex messes it up there, lets the lane catch back up. I mean, it's like these small things, and then there's some precise movement we need to do.
Yeah, that dash.
I hate visual cues for it, but they're not that easy. Chex has an interesting setup for this bomb clip.
Oh, that was like slick and smooth. That was very nice,
good, yeah. And then the lane's gonna do kind of the more normal one.
Yeah.
You're gonna bonk, get on a specific pixel, and this will put you into the wall. It won't teleport you through to the next screen, and so he actually has to do a 1 frame buffer there, so we can get through into pod. Yeah. So now we're in pod, which We're really not
Funky
intended to be
Pod.
here.
Yep.
And we are supposed to have the Moon Pearl right now. Normally you wouldn't be allowed into the Dark World without it, but the game doesn't actually check unless you take a valid Dark World entrance, which we did not do, so it doesn't do anything here.
Yeah. Game doesn't care, but you can notice the game thinks you're still in Light World. If you look at the pods, those are Light World pods.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, those are if an unfortunate thing happens in a later dungeon, we'll see they'll turn from Dark World pods into Light World pods. So it's just I don't know. For me, it's kind of a cue that something's not right when you're in these Dark World dungeons and you look at the pods.
Yeah, so these look like normal pods. In Dark World, they're going to look like skulls. So that's one way to tell. A lot of times you don't really pay attention to it, but in this category, it comes up more or at all. So it is something to be aware of.
Yeah, for sure. Well, it's one of those things that can save your run or whatever if you recognize it. If you're just kind of in cruise control and maybe you take a death somewhere, you just go back in without mirroring.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. I don't know.
Yeah, honestly, been pretty solid pods out of both of them so far. Chex is coming up to hammer jump here, which is a little bit scary. Normally, it's a little bit easier here. Normally, we're going to go for 2 bombs, so we can blow open the wall. But we don't actually need that key.
I think he's trying to pause buffer or like diagonal one.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. And so a lot of buffers there. It's pixel perfect, so it's tough. If you're off by 1, it's pretty tough. The lane gets a pretty good one, actually. It makes up a bunch of time there, just because of how much time you save if you have to do fewer buffers.
Yeah, but we're coming up to the big Helma fight pretty soon here, and yeah, Helma can ruin your run. You can just take a bunch of time to do. So.
Yeah, for those who don't know, pod is definitely kind of like the first big wall in this category. It's got a lot that can go wrong or just lose you a bunch of time. So I don't know that either runner is, super happy with this pod, but given that it's a tournament setting so far, you can't be too upset that you've gotten through it and you're doing okay. Lane picking up arrows there as an extra safety. I guess Chex has a few.
Yeah, Chex actually, he got a drop off of the Mimic when he dashed out, so.
Yeah, that's good. So neither of them have enough arrows to take down Helmasaur, but they do have enough arrows to maybe clean up.
Yeah, I think like a lot of the time, whenever you're going to go for the arrows, you've at least gotten 1 hammer hit in anyway, so.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't think arrows are the first resort for most people. Just once the Helma fight starts getting bad, like if you start throwing fireballs out and he has his tail out on you and all that, maybe you switch to arrows and just start going for it. But good turtle party from Thalane as Chex misses the key dash and bonks a door, but he's heading into the Helma fight now.
Yeah, so here Helma can he's going to move 3 times and then either tail swipe or fireball in this first phase. Tail swipe is pretty nice because Helma just sits there and you can hammer him a little bit. If you get fireballs, the fight gets a little bit scary because it's going to split into 3 and then they explode. Yeah, and so we can see they're taking it kind of safe to avoid the fireballs there. Nice fight from Chex.
Yeah, good fight from Chex. He took a hit, but the hit didn't matter. And
really the big reason why we get Sankar is for this boss right here.
Thalane's down to 1 heart, and meanwhile... Oh no! Oh, Thalane takes a death, and oh no, that's rough.
Yeah, it's like one of those things where it's just like, it's so hard to recover in this fight if it starts to go bad. And, you can only take 2 hits in this fight, which is it's not much. Like, if you're going fast, sometimes you intentionally take a hit just because you're like, I don't want to wait for this attack or whatever. And so, especially when that happens and then maybe the fight's going a little bit longer than you expected. It's just like, oh, boss doesn't
sometimes you
work.
end up forcing it and dying because of it.
Yeah, and you know the thing about arrows is that technically they're safer here if you want to use them, but like they're not that much safer. Once Helma starts throwing out fireballs,
Yeah, once the
basically the
fireballs
whole
and stuff-
screen is a hurt box, and it's
Yeah,
like
he was basically in the spot where you'd be firing for arrows from anyway, and just ate it. So I don't know whether it would have helped him that much.
yeah. So Chex now is actually heading into Tower of Hera. He did a clip there. It's the faster clip. Saves like a second, I think, over some other versions. Especially if you do it as fast as Chex does, which is pretty fast. Like I said, Chex is pretty good at all kinds of glitch stuff. Thalane taking a hit there. This actually is
It's a huge
really
hit.
bad for Helma. Now he only gets one hit, so let's hope it doesn't go bad.
Definitely. Let's see this second try, Helma fight. Dying to Helma loses you about 2 minutes, so
Yeah.
we're gonna hope it's just this 2 minutes. He nails it this time. He's doing a little hammer poke dash there to extend the hitbox even more. Oh no. Oh. Yeah, he's just gonna wait. Yeah, this will be fine.
Okay, great. Whew, this is one
Chex. Wait, hold on, everyone. Big update. Chex is doing pot spin speed on the left side of the screen. The big strat, but he takes a tile to the face for it.
Yeah, he did spin the crystal switch. So the thing about crystal switches in this game is every time you hit them, it loses about 20 frames, or it costs about 20 frames, not necessarily lose. So you don't want to hit him extra times if you can't help it. You can see he hit it there, and it kind of froze the screen for a little bit. We're gonna do it again here in this beetle room. You can see it freezes the screen. So spinning the switch, whenever you spin a switch, it's actually gonna spin it 3 times, just to how long the hitbox is out. So it costs you like a second or so if you spin the switch.
Yeah. So maybe not the best setup, but still, pot spin speed is important. It's good for your personal morale if you do pot spin speed in the tile room. It's a great strategy. I recommend everyone try it if they're not doing boom dash.
Here we're gonna do what feels like not a big trick at all, but bomb jump that saves something like 15 seconds over like walking around. You're intended to fall down onto that chest, so you know, bomb jumps, and they happen so fast, and they're not that interesting on this category, at least. Thalane also going for the fast clip gets a pretty good one as well.
Yeah, I mean, this category we moved on from bombing ourselves across gaps. Now we're just bombing ourselves with walls. So that's just tame. But still, you have a small window that you got to get in, and
Thalane, okay, got bullied by the Moldorm and then left the key. This is like one of those rooms that it's once again you got to be a little bit patient, and we don't want to be patient. We're trying to go fast, and so especially maybe after you have a pretty rough pod like that, and you're really trying to make up time. Yeah, he died to Helma.
Thalane had a Helma death.
Just
Unfortunate. Thalane's going for the boom dash here.
Yeah, which is technically the optimal strat.
But you don't get spin speed during it, so.
Yep. Okay. But now Chex is heading into Dark World. Again, we don't really have any valid Dark World portals we can get to, so we use that one on Death Mountain and then walk through walls again. Pretty great. Just kind of jump off the mountain and we're in regular Dark World here. We're gonna do Thieves down here. Get a couple of get the lift upgrade, the Titansmiths, which is really.
Yeah, jump straight to the top level lift. Well, he's getting buff in Thieves Town.
So really, we don't want to see any more like big mistakes out of either of these runners. We will see if Chex opts for like safer strats if he knows he's in the lead. I don't know if he does.
Yeah, I don't know whether he's watching or anything. If he sees that his opponent had a Helma death. he's gonna play it safer.
Because there's a couple opportunities later in the run for like 8-second time saves or so, but they have the risk of
ruining your day.
you, and you have to reset and do like 15 minutes of the game again. So, if he's watching, maybe he just takes those a little bit safer. But then also maybe not, because this is one of those things where if you start playing too safe, the lane starts to make up 10-15 seconds of split, and all of a sudden it's a race again. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so man, bumper skip right there. I forget the pixel window for it. It's like 4 pixels or something.
Yeah, I think it's like 4.
Where you can dash through like the lane just did. And you're trying to go fast once again, so it's not always obvious that you have like 30 frames from when you start a dash to when you can cancel it. So it's not always obvious that you're not on the right pixel. Lane hammer dashing into the Moldorm fight, it's actually not for swag. If you normally dash in, then like you can get pushed back out depending on where Moldorm is. But if you do that with the hammer, I think you just land in the arena no matter what. So it basically just guarantees you land down there.
Yeah, so he had a pretty good helmet fight there. Now he's going to be heading into Thieves Town. Dow took a hit from Stalfos in the big block room, but
health is probably fine here. There's not too much more that can really go wrong. It's prison, maybe.
This room stinks, man.
Yeah, I would just say that it's rare to get hit more than once in this room. So you've got, what is this, 5.5 hearts? It's not the scariest thing in the world.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, his skin has looked up great. He's heading to blind. Blind should generally be simple, but when it goes bad, it goes very, very bad. So.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, he can tank a lot from blind right now. I guess the purple beam or the pink beams from blind do 1 heart, and the heads do 2 hearts of damage.
Yeah, but we don't want to.
No, you don't want to get hit at all. I mean, getting hit is generally slow, except for certain circumstances.
Unless we're bomb jumping or something similar, taking damage is never optimal. At least not for humans. For tasks, it's technically optimal before you get boots, but once you get boots, it's not optimal anymore.
Oh, Thalane got the bad RMG on the hellway. Too bad. And then got bullied by the fire snake a little bit. But yeah, Chex is through the blind fight. Now we're gonna see whether he goes for the one of the big potential hard locks that's happened a lot in this tournament. Frog Door. It's a frame perfect hard lock, and I don't know. You can actually save that hard lock if you hold select once you realize you get it, but a lot of people have ended up just having to reset and having to redo basically Hera and Thieves Town.
Yeah, this is one of those ones where there's the potential there. Anytime we save and quit, this is going to be like, would you go back? So we're going to save and quit after Skullwoods, and Chex is going for this Frog Door strat.
Yep, he's Frog Doorn. All right, we're going to see how it goes. If he comes out and Link's head leaves his body, then you know that he's hard locked. Otherwise, he'll be okay. And it's okay. He gets the frog talk, and he'll be all right.
Yeah. So we're gonna save and quit after Skullwoods because We don't have the flute, so leaving Skullwoods is actually extremely slow. So we would rather just save and quit out. But we won't save and quit again until after Ice Palace, which is like, I gotta count 1, 2, 4 dungeons later. So, you know, if this is one of those things where Chex is watching, maybe he does take it a little bit safe just because you don't want to have to redo up to 4 dungeons or 3 dungeons if you make a really bad mistake.
Yeah, definitely. Getting our Tempered Sword, getting ready to do Skullwoods. We're about to see one of the most important tricks in the video game in almost every category. It's called Fence Dash. It looks like it doesn't save that much time. It saves years. If you don't get it, you've lost years. So we're going to see whether Chex grabs the Fence Dash here.
Chex is going for that spin speed. Saves like 5 frames. Okay, Thalane got hit in the fight, but fixed it.
All right, he gets the Fence Dash. That's huge.
Yeah, Fence Dash is actually also, like, you can only move for 1 frame to the left to get it. So it's, once again, not trivial to get.
Yeah, I mean, some people have said it's like a barometer of how you're going to do later in the run because you're having to push 2 buttons at the same time.
Yeah,
it's
that's
like
fair.
The first big test of you pushing 2 buttons at the same time.
Yeah, well, the thing about that is we can't really see how they're holding their controllers. I know that there's a couple different grips we're going to use maybe later in the run. Depends on the player, of course. But when we go to press 2 buttons, some players do it with 1 hand, some players do it with 2. I personally do Fence Dash with 2 hands, and then the mirror reps with 1 hand. So it's not the best barometer because it's a little bit different.
Oh man, Chex, he has a good mummy room, but then he just gets beat up in the big key room.
Yeah, it's amazing how stupid the mummy room can be, and then the room after is just like garbage. It's like that mummy is not really supposed to be in front of the doorway like that, but sometimes, you know, the game just decides, hey, it's not your day, and so the mummy's gonna stand there.
All right. Meanwhile, Thalane has gotten a chest turn in the bombable hut. He's doing frog door. We're going to see how it goes. He's coming out, and it's all right for him too. So no frog door locks today. The frog door is unlocked. We had the keys. Yeah, he's heading off to get his Tempered Sword too, while meanwhile Chex is heading to the back to go fight Mothula. See,
yeah,
I think this is still about I don't know, still about a 2-minute difference between the two.
I think it's a bit more than 2 minutes.
Maybe 2.5 minutes. Yeah.
We'll check at the end of Skullwoods. Skullwoods is like, especially since Chex got hit here, actually, you know, Mothula is not the kindest boss in the game. Not that we wish it upon Chex, but if you get bad RMG here, it's pretty easy to get hit once or twice from Moth. And we're at the part of the game where things start to do 2 hearts of damage pretty much all the time.
Oh, he's trying to place safety, but he wanted that pot in the heart, but he could not get to it in time.
Yeah, enemies are a pain in that room. So we just try to get in and out as fast as possible for the most part.
Yeah.
Okay, great Moth from Chex though.
Nice Moth fight. No worries. Big worries.
Thalane misses the fence dash. Can't speak.
Yeah, that's. So Thalane has lost years not getting the fence dash. Just piling on. The game is piling on him right now. It's being rude.
Yeah, unfortunately, this is a game where, like, if you're, you know, get a little bit maybe on tilt or a little bit flustered, or even if you're just not playing super well that day, it's really easy for things to go south in a hurry. Now, Thalane did give Chex the file name Y Practice, so
Thalane was definitely warming up with some Kaizo Mario hack, so
yeah, he's definitely good enough at this game that I expect him to still play well, but it can be tough. to play well for the whole, hour and 10, hour and 15 minutes that this run's going to take.
But he had a nicer mummy room and mummy big key room than Chex did for sure.
Yeah, and then another great hair clip from Chex. We're actually coming here to grab the book, and then after that we will grab flippers. It's kind of we have one last thing to go out of our way to get a little bit later in the run, but these two items are going to be basically do this, and then we're going to do a dungeon rush until the end of the game.
Yeah, I mean, it's convenient that all those dungeons and then the ice rod are just in a line on the bottom of the map, so we can just kind of just run through them, not having to do saves and quits and any kind of travel between, or any kind of big travel in between them.
Mm-hmm.
It's a gift and a curse because, once again, if you have a hard lock, if you have anything like that, then yeah, you've lost a ton of time.
As far as Nick being a bit of a bully on Thalane's side, it's like it didn't hit him, which is good, but it just blocked his path for 3 seconds because it wanted to, basically. But yeah, hopefully we're going to see a good moth fight from Thalane as well.
Yeah.
The conveyor is really the big issue here.
Yeah, conveyor RMG is... Oh, he spun before he got the poke, so that's rough.
Okay, but he does know how to handle the moth fight. Okay.
Yeah,
pretty solid cleanup there. Yeah, so Chex got the flipper. He's going to save and quit out. Back to Link's house. We're actually going to head to Desert. We're going to take it through the Dark World first, actually, because Desert's the only Light World dungeon we have left. We really want to be in Dark World, but Desert and Mire are right on top of each other, so we're going to do Desert first. Mostly
nice bomb out
for the extra health. I think it's also faster, but mostly for the extra heart for Mire, which is really nice.
Yeah. Slipped a little bit, I guess. Holding down diagonal for the spin, or during the spin.
But yeah, we can see Chex has a couple of great clips there. Second one, maybe a little bit worse just because he had to do 2 tries, but that was almost because he was too fast the first time. Maybe